Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a little video on Jackie Aina's palette, and I finally ordered this one. I've been dying to buy this eyeshadow for quite some time, but it's always in the back of my brain, but it's like I always prioritize something else over this one. Don't know why, but it's like not in the list where I'm like, okay, I will buy this one, but I'm always like, oh, I'm running out of foundation, concealer, I'm always running out of like powder, brows, and then like eye primer. I don't run out of them, it's like I run out of my favorite things, so that I'm like, okay, I'm replacing this, and this is like behind everything. And today I'm going to do my third episode of Artistry swap. I know I haven't filmed that for a period of time, and I was last said, oh, see you guys in the next video, bye. And then life happens and things happens, and I have to delay everything. I have to like change, like swap out some of my things to replace the video that should be there last week to this one. Sorry, I guess sorry, I'm sorry. So today I'll be following her why your foundation routine sucks or won't last all day routine, and let's get started. But we can't start a Jackie Aina like tutorial without being like
jigga 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 jigga.
who am I? So let's get started.
Have no fear, you guys. I've been looking out for you. This is the makeup tutorial you can wear with every single outfit. You can wear this during the day. You can wear this at night. It really doesn't matter, sis. But first, please hydrate your skin, especially if it's during the
So her first step is moisturizing her skin.
day. I better be seeing you wear SPF. This is the Olay Regenerist Whip. This one has SPF 25. I'm actually gonna.
So I'm not going anywhere, so I'll be wearing the ordinary natural moisturizing factor with HA, and then you should probably wear a sunscreen on a daily basis. If I'm wearing sunscreen, it would be maybe this one. It has homosalate, autocrine, salicylic, butyl, methoxydibenzomethane. It's a chemical sunscreen. It's a really hydrating one. So we'd be taking some and be rubbing it into my skin. I don't have all the products that she used, and I try to find some that are similar to her products. Okay, let's finish up moisturizing the skin.
So of course, I never skip eye cream. Girl, you jagger! So I'm just gonna pat a bit of that on the back of my ring finger, and I'm gonna boop, 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 and then one on my brow bone. Whenever you're applying eye cream, you always wanna head all the way into the orbital bone. So just blend that out.
So she's applying some eye cream for Sally, but I'll be using retinol eye cream from First Aid Beauty, and it's a retinol eye cream with triple hyaluronic acid, which it's a fragrance-free formula. It doesn't have fragrance. It has a lot of good ingredients in it, like hyaluronic acid, also retinol. So it doesn't have a really have a tint, but it's like moisturizer. And I'll be popping this using a ring finger. And then she applies some here. Let's get on
And you'll see that because it's got that yellow tint to it, it's gonna instantly add a little glow. I think we all, let's be real, I think we all can agree the perfect makeup look starts with good skin prep. Now I gotta tie my hair back. And I do all my own stunts. And in order for me to do them, I gotta tie my hair back. Then I'm gonna jump into the Milk Blur Primer. This primer's good because it don't feel like drying out my skin every day. It's like hydrating and balancing at the same time.
So I'll be using the Too Faced Hangover RX Good in Bed Ultra Replenishing Hydrating Serum, which is like a very liquidy kind of like a primer. I've checked that doesn't have any silicone in it. This one, it's like a hydrating serum. It's not a primer or of any sort, but it's like a gel texture kind of like thing. And actually you can use anything as a primer as long as it like helps things to stay intact on your skin. You can definitely use this as a primer. You can use a sunscreen as a primer as well. This is a really glowy kind of like a sunscreen. You can use anything, and I'll be using this one. I think the Hydro Group has alcohol on like the 6th ingredient, which I mean, how does it not feel dry? Maybe you have oily skin, you like that like instant dry down kind of feel, but this one have fragrance in it. Not the best thing, but definitely hydrates the skin.
I'm gonna color correct the bottom half of my very uneven face, aka my fake beard, with the tinted Hue Stick. The shade that I use is Rise.
So she color corrects, I don't. But since she does that, I will be using Born This Way in the shade Warm Beige to color correct my mouth area where I get a lot more redness. And this is more of like my skin shade. It's more of like a yellow kind of like tint. I know like most people like to use an orange corrector, but I'm like not a person that uses an orange corrector because it's like it doesn't match with my skin that well.
When you prep your skin really well, everything just glides on, just so buttery. And when you're in a hurry, that's important. All right, look.
So she blends out with a sponge, which I hope this really corrects my skin here. It's slightly darker, and you can see it's way more yellow than my skin, which some makeup artists say you need only a light hand on like the corrector. It's like to correct, like to tune the shade back into the shade more of your skin shade instead of like covering that. And if you use a lot of corrector, you might be like just adding layers and more layers on your skin. But this is the Jackie Aina way, and it looks fine.
Very awkward to look at, but it's all a part of the process, okay? Step back. I'm gonna take my Mented Cosmetics foundation stick. This is a good everyday foundation, I'll tell you why. It's not matte. It is what I would like to call satin, maybe? I think satin's a good word. It's just good. I can get things done with this foundation.
So I'll be using the Revolution Stick Foundation in the shade F8, which is this is like just how she describes, like I'm not saying she is describing this as the same as like the mint foundation, but this is a natural finish foundation.
One little tip, if you have dry skin, you can always like mist your brush first, give it a little plop, or you can just give it a quick shake and spray down your face first. Just a little bit though. Don't get too close. I can ease.
So she said you can mist your face or the brush. So I'll be misting the brush and my face. So I'll be using the Colourpop spray, which is a hyaluronic acid setting spray. And then I'm not drenching my face. Let it set for a bit. So let's continue to
easily blend out the foundation a little bit better, makes the stick a little bit more movable. So as I blend out my foundation, I'm gonna talk about the...
So I will be blending my foundation. Right, on screen, I'm like unclockable. Definitely very, very covered. Which I don't mind that I have like a ton of product on my face. It's like on screen it looks really great. But in real life it's like, oh god, you're wearing a lot of makeup. But let's see.
The rose gold skin mist. Oh, I forgot to throw in my skin tone blur. I don't always do this with my foundation. Do it every once in a while when I need a little more long wearability out of my makeup. So the rose...
Ooh, I blended out my foundation, but that's always what happens when you film, and then when you need something, you can't see it. After that, you can find everything you need. So she applied some skin to blur, which I find this should be like my dupe for skin to blur. It's the highlight my pore delete. I think it's a lot thicker than what skin tone blur does. It's more like a milky kind of like serum. If you like, it's a more like a milky serum, and I will just dot it on my skin and to blend this in, which it does thicken up things. It's like a silicone. I hope it works.
Rose Gold Skin Mist has rosehip oil. It's also alcohol free, and it has real pawn shoppable 24 karat gold.
If you have like, if you are makeup or skincare junkie, you should know that gold doesn't do anything for your skin. It's just, it sits on your skin. It just sits there.
Okay, so next we're gonna conceal. I'm gonna take my Born This Way Multi-Sculpting Concealer and mix it in. Where's my eye cream? Where's my eye cream? I'm gonna go back to the eye cream again. We love mixing skincare with our complexion products, girl. I'm gonna take a little bit of that eye cream on a brush, and then my Multi-Sculpting Concealer on the back of my hand. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have been applying my concealers with a brush because I feel like it allows me to control it a bit more. I'm gonna mix the two together. This is an hourglass brush, by the way. And starting in that inner corner, I'm gonna start working my way in. Also,
so she takes her Born This Way concealer and eye cream. I'm using the Ola Harrison eye cream, which if you ask why I have two eye cream, I bought this during kind of like sale, and we'll pick some up and just mix it, and that's a lot. And then I use the back of my brush to mix it.
I've kind of switched up the way I apply concealer. I don't bring it all the way down the corner of my nose anymore. I kind of keep it around the immediate under eye area. I feel like when I apply it this way, it adds a little bit of width to my face because I have a really narrow face. And Born This Way is pretty watery, so when mixed with the Holiday Ice Cream, I actually kind of thickened it up a little bit. The shade that I use, by the way, is Chestnut, and then Sable to contour. They actually brought this in ganache now, and it's very rare that a company has concealer that's too dark for me to contour with, but ganache is like just a tad too dark for even me to contour.
So she puts on her contour shade. Let's finish up putting up the concealer using the back of my foundation brush. Let's do that. So I'll be using the stick foundation to carve out my cheeks and highlight my forehead, which a little does go a long way.
Me to contour. Now, you know we like to let the concealers dry down a little bit, honey. So I might take a little fan, I might go pick out my outfit. I'm very much so a multitasker when I'm trying to get ready. Letting your concealer dry down a little bit increases the coverage. It does, it really does work, you guys. Please let your concealer dry down a little bit. That is, of course, assuming you're not using a super mattifying concealer, but obviously Born This Way isn't. That's why I'm doing this. And then working my way around the outer corners of where I apply the concealer. I'm gonna start blending it. One more thing I've been doing lately with concealer is I have like under eye bags, not in color, but just like I have a deep like line, a dip, like the under eye dip I call it. Instead of blending all the way up to the, like I barely tap over my immediate under eye area. Barely tap over it because I want the most amount of coverage there. I don't want no troubles. I don't want no issues. I don't want no loss, nothing. Basically what I'm trying to say is around the outskirts of where we apply the concealer, that is where I use the heaviest blending hand. Like I kind of just work around there. And then as soon as I work my way up to my immediate under eye area, which is my problem area, I barely tap it.
So I would like tapping the rest of like the concealer on my skin, on my back of my hand, and I will use a sponge to press it. And she didn't do that, but I'm like, there's still product on there. Why not?
And you guys, you can do the same technique with any product. With any product, I don't care if you use products from Colourpop, I don't care if you use products from NARS, Too Faced, Urban Decay, whatever, it really doesn't matter. Using the extra concealer I have, I'm gonna highlight my 5-head cone zone. I call this the cone zone. This is the hazard area. I'm throwing in some good tips, you guys, for girls that have narrow faces and wanna plump their face up a little bit more. You see this little dot I'm drawing down here? We're gonna keep this really wide. And then do you see how I'm highlighting my forehead and I'm drawing like pretty much like a sunset? Also, this brush is fabulous for the nose. I'm just saying, you can get really precise application down here. Do you see that? You can't see that. You need to clean your phone screen. Now we're gonna blend both our contour. How can I explain this? I kind of like blend my contour up to my concealer so that it just looks like a more natural transition from your highlight shade to your contour shade.
So she is blending her contour to her highlight, and where she does is she just push the contour, and that's what she's to the highlight area, and then she blends she don't blend in there, but she just like sort of like push, like they just marinate here. Much because it's nice. It sort of sculpt the face, but outside. California don't know whether the hell it wants to be summer, spring, winter, fall. Okay, I'm gonna stop with the Game of Thrones references. No one cares anymore. Okay, sisterhood of the 5-head pants. We need to talk about how to get this done the right way. See how I got my contour up here? I'm gonna take my brush and go from blending my contour right into blending my concealer. Like there's no space in between. We're blending them both at the same time. Don't go all the way down into the middle of the cone zone. Just stay around the edges and blend. Just stay around
around the edges. Trust me when I say this, it will really make your contour and your highlight look way seamless. Do you see how I'm...
Well, I'm not good at that, so I'll be using some help from my trusty foundation brush that I use on my under eye concealer.
See how I'm basically blending my contour all the way up to my cheekbone? That's how it's gotta be sometimes. Then I'll go back to my sponge and blend this in the middle. I'll just kind of go over the whole face.
Well, she is going through with a sponge.
Streaky streaks, I'm not gonna lie, so you just gotta kind of finish him with the beauty, because it's better to arrive late looking cute than to be there on time not looking cute. William Shakespeare. Also, one little trick I'm gonna show you guys to help hide your dips, if you have dips like I do. I'm gonna take a really, now this is under no circumstances an attempt at being light skinned, for all y'all in the comments that'll try me. Some people really like to try me, they really do. This is caramel, it's really light. This would never be a highlight for me. It's super light. You only need the tiniest bit. That is gonna kind of give like this forced shield so that you're distracted from the dip because it's so light. Girl, sometimes I'll even go full Caucasian. I wanna say this is caramel from Radiant Creamy. This is ginger from Radiant Creamy. I'm personally not a big fan of overly highlighted skin, and I would like to think my highlight is socially acceptable for the most part. I know that look is really popular depending on where you live. I don't think it's a bad look, it's just not for me. Because the concealer is still wet, like you're actually mixing the two in. And I'm gonna concentrate that color right over the dips.
So I'll be using the super size Conceal and Define from Make a Revolution to conceal the deep. Like, I like that like bulging part. It looks cute, I think, but well, when she teaches you something, we should try it as well. So for me, like on a daily basis, I like sometimes I don't wear concealer. Some people just wear concealer, and I was like, I'm the person that doesn't wear concealer, but I wear foundation all over my face. It looks really pretty on screen.
Set this magic marble head with powder. I'm actually gonna bronze. I'm gonna bronze while my complexion is still wet. This is Cocoa Naughty, blah, 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 from Fenty. I wish it was a little darker, but I do really like this color. You can, for only the price of $10.99, bronze your skin on your wet, dewy face. This is probably very triggering, but don't worry,
It's triggering, so we'll be using the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer to bronze on our wet face. So knock off some of the excess powder and then put on where you bronze. It's more difficult to blend than usual because if it's wet or it's not on a powder, things tends to grip, especially with like especially with brush. Like I'm using a Wayne Goss brush where it's screw hair, or goat hair brush, which like it's a really nice brush, but it's like when there's liquid on there, it grips. I look really tan. Wow.
don't worry, we're gonna stay with powder. I'm getting there. Boom, we're done. No, we're not. Not even close. I'm gonna go to my Laura Mercier powder. You can use whatever powder your little heart desires. I started on my mouth because this is the part of my face that tends to move first. And I just apply a little bit of that powder. Even though this powder is very expensive, a little bit goes a long way. Please do not, my friend, I beg, please don't put on a bunch of powder on top of a liquid foundation. Please don't do that. It's gonna look super cakey, super obvious. You just don't want that kind of problem in your life. You really don't. Now using the little tip, I'm gonna go around my nose because that's...
So she set her chin and mouth area, and I would take some powder. It's quite a bit, and then sometimes my trick is when you grab too much, just knock it off on your back of your hand and then just pounce it. No, don't push it too hard. You can look like you have extremely dry skin. This tutorial definitely is for someone who needs a lot of coverage.
Because that's where I tend to get the most oily, and like we're just focusing this in the areas where makeup tends to break down the quickest for me. This is so many products, you guys. I'm so sorry, but I'm just.
And then she does with her nose. So again, some excess powder, we just knock it off and then pass it on the nose. When you think you look cakey, before you really just push it in, like turn your sponge and just use some places where it does not have powder, and then press it in.
Products, you guys. I'm so sorry, but I'm just showing you the technique. You do not have to use what I use. I just can't stress that enough. I promise you, you don't. NYX has great complexion products. Colourpop has great complexion products. If you're looking for something a little bit more pocket friendly, check them out. Now I'm gonna go to my actual highlighting powder. This is Fenty Cashew. Using a brush, I'm just gonna go right in on my under eye. Just patting it in right in my under eye area. All this hard work we put in our under eye concealer, we don't want to move it, girl. We don't want it to budge. And I also do a little bit of highlighting on my chin. See how there's just a nice little gradient of color there from like highlight to my skin tone. Then I'm gonna actually bake. I do like a little soft.
So before we bake, let's take a fluffy brush. And then we will, this is a wing gauze blending brush. You can actually use any brush to do that. And then grab some powder. I'm using the Fit Me loose powder. Just knock off some of the excess, and then just, you can see I've like picked up quite a bit of powder and just gently tap it.
Set with the brush, and then I actually bake. Very little powder. Look how much powder I'm using. That's not that much. Try me, because I can get real down and dirty with powder if I want to. I'm a changed woman. I let go of my wicked ways. So I take a little bit of that powder and just start to really follow the same areas where we apply the concealer. Patting, no sweeping, no sweeping. Back, 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 back. What I used to do is bring the powder like around the sides of my nose. I don't do that anymore because I just don't feel like it, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing it. And I'm absolutely not pressing the powder into my skin. I don't want it to be like ingrained into my DNA, you know, like I just put enough just to keep the concealer underneath it in place. You know, what I used to do is like really go in with the concealer, and my under eye would look so good, and then I would put powder on, and I feel like I would mess up what I did with concealer. It was really annoying. So I've just learned to be a lot more light-handed with powder. Then I'm gonna follow my nose bridge. This is the Sigma P82. She be getting oily too, girl. Shoot. Yes, I'm doing this while I'm baking. I'm gonna take my blush. This is in the.
So should we use a blush? But let's bake. And please do knock off like the excess powder.
Shade number 4 Cardinal. This is from Rainbow Tay. They have the most beautiful freaking gorgeous blushes, and it's a really pretty berry matte, and I'm gonna put this on my cheeks. To me, this is a good way to keep the blush and highlighter in check. They're always trying to steal the shine. For my everyday look, I always go peach on my cheeks or like bubblegum pink, or I'll mix them together. I'm gonna add a little bit more bronzer, but this time I went darker because I like a lot of color gradients.
So before we go on with the contour and like more bronzer, we will be using our quad from the Snow Girl collection. From Too Faced, we'll be using the shade Christmas Dream, which is a mauvey kind of a shade there, more berry tone. So I will be like tapping it along with my highlight, tapping it along there. let's continue.
If you can't already tell, I like to do a lot of like color stacking. Like instead of just using one color, I'll go in with something a little darker and define it a little bit more. This is Mocha Mami. Also, why did I say Mocha Mami? Like goo goo gaga. Mocha Mami from Fenty. This is definitely like really dark for me, but when used on something else, it just looks a little less like strong. So look, see, I got a little bit more bronze. Definitely.
So the darkest bronzer that I have is the Maybelline City Bronzer in the shade 300 Deep Cool, which is more red than yellow than some of my like bronzers. So I'll be using this to further bronze up. That's a lot of color. Let me show you what my glamorous brow will look. Let's just show you, because I've never showed you how I do my brows when I'm like doing more of a glam look. So I'll be using a brow wiz in the shade Ebony, and then I will just draw in strokes in the front part of my brow. So it will draw strokes here, slightly fill them in, because the front part is where the part that's like the most kind of like sparse for me, and you want to slightly even out the look. You don't want to have like brow and then there's some hair, and my brows do grow really low as well, so definitely that's something my brow does. They just tries to hang really low, so slightly fill in the front part. And then what I would do usually is, they are not like brothers or sisters, they're not even really cousins, they're more like your mom's girlfriend, daughters, brothers, friends, uncle, mom. Slightly brush them out. I have naturally really thick kind of a brow, so I want to define like here, slightly here. So I would draw like lines here, and then make a stroke down. Just draw them in really lightly to give my arch something. And I will do the same thing for this brow. You can see it's slightly rounded out. I don't do a lot of things, and I don't fill them. I don't use a pencil all that much, because it's really there. Like my brows are really like pa-pow, pa-bam. So to finish up my brows, I will be using a clear brow gel, which is from ABH. Just sweep it through to lock them in. I think this is like one of my favorite brow gels, and on like everyday basis, I finally bought this bike. I'm like, I miss like a good clear brow gel, and they just set them in and they do the job. Like I use tinted brow gel, like the dip brow gel. You can see like most of the video I have like the brow and down from Urban Decay, or like this one, but most of the time I just use a clear brow gel before I start filming, and I do like my brows when they are like just brushed out, and then just use a clear brow gel. This is my favorite kind of like brow. Let's continue. So this is the base video, and then we will use the next video where her launch video to be our tutorial for the eye palette. And before we do that, she used her her concealer, the Born This Way concealer, to prime her eyes. And
why I chose each name, what the inspo was for each name. I knew I had to give you guys something really colorful, and the look I'm gonna be showing you is the look that I do the most frequently with my palette. First, I'm just priming my eyes with some Born This Way multi-sculpting concealer from Too Faced. So the first color that I'm going to grab is Pinker. This shade right here, you need Pinker for pretty much every neutral pink look you do. Pinks, of course, the obvious, it's called Pinker, you know, Pinker. So I'm gonna start first by kind of stippling it on. And you guys know how ABH shadows operate, okay? You don't have to keep digging and digging and digging and digging. Honestly, one or two little pushes in that pressed supreme pigmentation and you got color. Really darken it up first by pressing it in, and then I start blending up into my crease. I'm not gonna be stingy. I'm going to go.
so she'll be tapping the shade Pinker on the outer V, and then she will blend it in to her crease. I'm using a blending brush. I find it really difficult to blend it on a very tacky base. Maybe I'm just not good at makeup, but who cares? But for real though, let's see what she.
I'm going to go all the way in my inner corner because I noticed the more love I give a transition color, I just feel like the shadow just looks much more clean. I like to clean off my brush without actually adding any more product, and then I'll go around the edges and just kind of like blow and smoke that out so that it looks even more airbrushed than it already is. And look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Don't be afraid.
Okay, so she just sort of like clean her brush, and then she blows out the color. Which it's sort of something that I would do. Like use a crease shade and then just buff it out to the point where it's like very, very, very blended kind of a look. I won't be wearing lashes. I don't have. I would be wearing mascara instead, which won't be the best look, but.
Don't be afraid to get in that brow. Don't be pressing too hard though, and don't be adding more product. Just kind of feather it up lightly, just a little bit. The next color that I'm gonna go into, I'm obsessed with. In the past like 6 months, the looks that you've seen me wearing with this bright orange coppery shade on my lid, it's been this color. Wigglies. Right there, wigglies, wigglies. Like she's just, ugh. It has become my new everyday neutral. So wigglies, I'm going to pop onto my lid, and I know what you're thinking. Whoa, scary. Fall back a little bit. But
Well, there's no time for us to be scary. So I don't think that's a coppery shade. That's a red, like bright red for me. So let's see.
But I promise you, we're going to add another shade to ensure that wigglies and Pinker look very flattering together. Sometimes it can be really hard getting like really bright colors to transition well on the eyes without the difference between what's in the crease and what's on the lid looking too far differently. But I'm gonna show you guys a little trick on how I do that. These two colors together, beautiful, stunning. She's booking runway shows, New York Fashion.
Okay, so she blend the color from the base to very high up and into the inner corners. one thing I have to say, like, the shadows are really beautiful and easy to blend. It's like, ooh. One reason that I prefer like an eyeshadow base is I just feel like I don't have like good luck in terms of using concealer as a base, where I feel like, I don't know, is it my blending skill just is not up there or what? It's like it's always whenever I prep with like concealer, they just don't look as good. They just not like, sorry I'm blocking you, but I have to see, they just don't look as vibrant as I want them to. Probably
Fashion
my
Week,
skill.
Paris Fashion Week, all of the above. Wonderful. But we're gonna step it up even more. Y'all think I'm playing? I'm not. I chose all of my favorite colors that make my favorite color combos, and I put them all in one palette. Now y'all know how I feel about a dark matte brown. So we're gonna take credit and blend that in the outer V. I do this on the days where I'm feeling a little bit more like I want to be ready for a business meeting. So I'm taking credit and I'm blending that in a V shape along the outer V of my eyes, and then I'm gonna work my way up into the crease just to add some depth there, and just look at the blendability of it all, the non-patchiness of it all. Credit absolutely needed to have the range for me because I'm tired of getting like emotionally invested into a palette with a dark matte brown, but sometimes they're ashy, sometimes they're not dark enough. Girl, it's a journey. Even though I'm not the biggest anti.
So she is using this brown and then she's blending it into the outer V. It's really easy to blend the eyeshadow in here. It's like very easy. I feel like if I do this look, I will use like the dark brown shade first and then blend it out with like the crease shade. That's just me. Like, everyone has their preference in how they do their eyeshadow, but being me,
My fallout campaigner. There's minimal fallout here. Just thought I would mention it for anyone who cares. I've said this dozens of times, but fallout really does not make or break a shadow palette for me. In fact, I actually expect it to have fallout if the shadows are super pigmented. So as you can see, the look is a little bit darker, a little bit sultrier. I will skip credit altogether. If it's daytime and I want a softer version of this look, I won't add any depth out here. I'm telling you, I literally have like 50 different versions of this same eyeshadow look. Okay, well, not the same one if it's 50 different versions, obviously, but you get what I'm saying. Basically, Wigglies is the most loved color in this palette for me because I can use it in so many different ways. Speaking of Wigglization, I'm going back, just making sure everything is smooth and blended. You know, I feel good. Do you feel good? You feel great? Okay, let's move on. The secret sauce is these colors, cute. But in order for me to feel really comfortable with Wigglies blending in with everything else, you have to take Supreme, which is really not as scary as it looks. It's this color right here, the really bright neon. It looks a little fluorescent on camera, but it's not. So what you would do is you would take Supreme, starting in the inner corner, inner transition area crease.
Intergalactic, planetary, momentary, intergalactic.
Start here and take Supreme, and you're gonna blend her. Do you see what I turned up my ISO just a little bit so that you can really see what is happening here. And I'm gonna show you a side-by-side comparison, because sometimes I think the girls need to just be notified that I'm noticing you noticing me, and I just want to put you on notice that I noticed you too. The difference is clear. This side versus this side. This is definitely the color that I underestimated the most because I didn't think there was a home for her. And it was Norvina herself that was like, That's not what she said. That's not what she said. Okay, I'm good. It was Norvina herself that was like, girl, you need one color that is for the girl who wants color. And alas, Supreme was born. And I think that her title is appropriately named. This may not seem like much, but you peel back and boom. So I'm gonna take a brown liner and pop that into my waterline. Now we're gonna do a little bit of detailing work, and this is always like,
well, I just popped Supreme to here, which it definitely changed the look. It's more pink here. Everything is just very blended. I don't have a brown liner to tight line, so if you will, I will be using a black liner, which is sister color. Let's hear what she says.
always like my favorite part. Going back to credit, we're going to ever so lightly stipple that as close to the lash line as you possibly can, because you really don't want this to be the start of the show. The party's up here. This is the back. This is
So slightly stipple the brow. For me, slightly stipple it means barely. I don't know, do you call this like just slightly, but for me this is a lot. I like detailing work, but for like the under eye region, it's like extra detail work. That's what I call it's
just where we keep all the party supplies. Okay, this is the real show. I mean, I do love smoked out bottom lash, but it's gonna be relatively kind of subtle compared to the rest of the look. Then you want to switch to another brush that is kind of tapered but still a little bit more dense, something that I'll blow out that bottom lash line a little bit more. This is the Morphe M574. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take pinker first, start smoking out that brown, and then on top of that I'm gonna put Supreme on top of that, like double blend though, or something like that. Basically both of the matte pinks, these two bad boys right here. But when it,
well, you have to blow this out for like 2 more times, so we will be picking up pinker with a fluffy brush. She said use a tight brush, but I don't really have a tight brush, or I have one. Using a smudger brush, pick up pinker. And I will stay within the rim. You can see that I have a rim there where if you go over that place, I can tell you that you can go, you will look like you have like really drippy eyes. And then I pick up some Supreme. That's a lot of under eye makeup.
but when it comes to the bottom lash line, I like to work from darkest to light. So we started with credit, now we're going into pinker because pinker is slightly lighter. Then we'll finish off, the outer ring will be Supreme. And as you can see, I'm just stippling that on real softly. Then like I said, we took Supreme as that final bottom layer. But once we get the lash on, I think you'll really see it come together. I don't think I want to do top liner, maybe just like a line of credit along the top, just for, you know, just for the sake of the lashes. So I get really close to my lash line and just pop some credit in with a pencil brush. This right here gonna make your lashes look a little thicker too. I need something to be.
Well, we're not wearing lashes, but I would still do that thing, but I would prefer using a black, but she's using her brown credit shade, which I guess we have to, because we're not using lashes. And it definitely helps to smoke out the look. And honestly, a lot of like company makes a lot of great brown colors, and ABH definitely has one of the best ones that I've tried. So I smoke out my line.
Present on the lash line, especially for falsies. What? You got me messed up. I feel good. It's time for some lashes. I can't believe I almost forgot my inner corner highlight. What is wrong with me? Let's figure out which one we want to do. I'm gonna take a dash of Soleil, the lightest color in the palette, this color right here, and just do a dollop right where it needs to be done. Because would it really be a Jackie Aina look if there was no inner corner highlight? I mean, it could work, but why would we want to force it to? Sometimes I even go back and forth with a little bit of wigglies to tone her down a little bit. I could wear this look every day. And I mean that too. Now I'm feeling a little froggy, so I'm gonna leap. I'm gonna take a little bit of Soleil, like right underneath my brow bone. Like, don't get carried away. You can, because Miss Soleil is definitely set up to not be ashy, but I really don't want the focus to be my super bright brow bone. So I'm just gonna take a little glimmer of that right where it needs to be done, right underneath the arch of my brow area. Very subtle, not very pronounced. That's it for the eyes. Now before we go, here is one last close-up of the eyes. She's subtle.
So here's the look. Let's put on some, I think, a few coats of lashes. Let's do that. So here is the look done. I filmed for like quite some time. Now, maybe I should pump up the brows. Okay, to pump up the brows, I'll be using the Dip Brow Gel in Ebony to brush up the brows. Give them extra texture and color, because I was looking in the mirror and I feel like my brows are a little too gray, which not something I want. Yet to be gray. I forget the line. Imitation is the like greatest sort of like something appreciation, and I definitely think that she is like someone that I look up to. What?
So what if I'm the monster that's been here all along?
I think of the look. The eyes, definitely something that I would do, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. And like with lashes on, definitely, because this look needs a lash to complete the look, which I don't have one. The base, it took some finessing to get it to like how I'm looking right now, and I'm really bronze. I have a lot of blush, and it definitely, I feel like in like if I am under the heat for like 2 minutes, this will melt right off. In Australia, if it's like 38 degrees, I can feel, I don't feel like the makeup now because I'm in a controlled environment, but definitely I can see that see some texture on my under eye because I have real dry under eyes. That's why I don't really bake. And I have retired from highlighting my under eye, and I don't highlight here, I highlight here to give myself like some light. But I don't hate the base. It's like if I want to have a really glammed up look, that's something that I would definitely do. And there's a lot of steps and a lot of product involved, like there's a lot of powder involved. There's like I've used 2 concealers with like 2 eye creams, which you use 1, but I've used 2 because I don't want to waste the random eye cream. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell button to get all the notification when I film a video. Should I do some band routine as well? Well, I'll pick one when I do this video again. I'm really enjoying this video. I hope to see you soon with my next video, and I hope to return to this series after I film this and see how the whole edit comes through. So see you in the next one. Bye for now. Bye.